Good morning, good morning, good morning. This is LouAnn, and welcome to my kitchen. The coffees are brewing, about done, and I got some sweet iced tea in the ice box back there. Help yourself, and we could visit a little bit. But today I'm doing a canning recipe for you. My stepdad gave me a whole bunch of prickly pears. I've still got a lot of prickly pear jelly that I made last year when there was tons of prickly pears. So this year I think I'm going to make some syrup. It's going to be exactly the same except for putting the pectin in. So let me get out my recipe, let me turn the camera around, and let me show you what I'm doing. So the very first thing I'm doing is I weight them. So the next thing I need to do is I need to burn all these spines off of here. My recipe does call for 3 pounds. I do have 3 pounds. So I am going to go ahead and start burning them off, the deals. And while I'm doing it, I will be cutting it in half. So that is the very first thing we need to do. I'm going to make prickly pear syrup today. All prickly pears, for the most part, are got the thorns burned off of there, and I've got them cut in half. I'm going to add about 2 cups of water, give or take. And the idea is to get these prickly pears to release their juice. That is what we're after, is the juice. So I'm going to let these cook, let them get soft, and then let them release their juice. Then we will be getting a colander or a strainer lined with cheesecloth to get the juice from this. And then that's all we need is the juice. So I will come back when they're soft and getting ready to juice them. I might add, this is my 3rd or 4th year messing with prickly pears. So we just need to get these softened so we can get that, so they can release that juice. That is all we need, is the juice of it. So that is what we're working on today. This is one of the things I'm working on today, might I add. Now that they are soft, now we need to turn off the heat and strain them and get all this luscious juice out of here, because that's all we need is the juice to continue on. Now we've got it strained, all our yummy juice. Now we need to add 8. I'm going to add, the recipe calls to have 8 cups of sugar. I'm going to add 7. Okay, now we need to get all this sugar mixed in. And yeah, I know I should have went and got a cup measuring spoon, but I just didn't want to. It's just a 4th cup of sugar. It takes a while to bring it in. So now we need to get all this sugar dissolved before we put it in our jars. which I'm going to put them in half pints today. And then I need to get my water bath canner going as well. So let me get this going. Get this yummy syrup. I got to bring it to a boil and get all this sugar dissolved that I just put in there, 7 cups. So if we was making jelly, which I don't need any prickly pear jelly, I would be putting our pectin in after it boils for a couple of minutes. But this, I really didn't find no recipe for syrup, but I'm going to wing this. So we'll see how this goes. So I'm going to get this sugar all dissolved and let it boil for a couple minutes. Come to boil while stirring it. And then we will put it in our half pints. So this is boiling. I'm going to let it boil for a couple minutes. I mean, this is just starting to boil. I'm going to let it boil for a couple minutes just to bring it up before I put it in my jars. Just to, like I said, I've never made this one before. I've made the jelly, but this is kind of sort of my own recipe. And as usual, you will find it on my blog, LouAnn's Kitchen. So this is, I kind of want it thicker. I might be boiling it longer than that. Kind of want to get this boiled down and make it a little bit thicker. Because you know you like your syrup thick. So I might just let this boil down a little bit to get it thicker. I really want it thick. Maybe I need to get my candy thermometer out and get it at a certain temp, which I've never done very good at doing that. So it is boiling. Now if I wanted to, I could probably wipe the skim off of that, but I'm not going to do that. So I'm going to add probably about 5, let it boil for 5 minutes and maybe it'd be thicker, maybe. Then we will be putting it in our jars. This is just one canning recipe I'm doing today. I'm going to be making pickled green tomatoes. We'll see how that goes. I've never made those either. But that is, I'm glad you're hanging out with me today and canning with me today. I very much appreciate it. Like I said, I'm going to let this boil for 5 minutes and then we will put it in our jars. And I'm not going to skim the foam off of this. I guess I should, but I'm not going to today. So, and I'm stirring this so it won't stick. That is with all that sugar. I mean, 7 cups of sugar. And again, I'm putting these in half pints. And then I will be letting them play in the water bath for about 10 minutes. And then while I do have my canner up to boiling, well, almost to boiling, and at least it's on because I canned yesterday some quartz, some pickle lily, which is on my other channel, by the way. We need to put our syrup in our jars. And I'm going to go about a 1/2 inch headspace. Wonder how many I get of half pints. Don't know. So there's one jar. So let me get all the jars filled and I'll bring you back for the next step. I need to wipe all the rims and wipe all the jars with vinegar. And then put my flats and my lids on and then put them in the canner. So I'm going to do that and I'll bring you back after I'm done. And you only want your lids finger tight, and that's as tight as you want them. It's just finger tight before you put them in the canner. Now I need to get this to to a rolling boil, and then I will count down for about 10 minutes. Put my timer on for 10 minutes. I'm going to put the lid on here and then let it do its thing.